A suspected serial killer who was almost released from prison 6 years ago after serving a small fraction of his sentence is up for parole again.
This time it appears he has a good chance at being released. The family of the murder victim, they are furious the state keeps trying to release him. The investigative unit and Chris Nakamoto here now with renewed frustration from the victim's family.
The prosecutor who worked to convict Samuel Galbraith said he was only convicted of one murder, but they believe he's responsible for 2 other murders in their area, too. When the investigative unit exposed this situation 6 years ago, Governor John Bel Edwards blocked his release. Nearly 40 years ago, the community near Fort Polk in western Louisiana was rocked with a series of women disappearing over a 2-year span. Pam Miller was last seen at a convenience store in Leesville in May of 1989. Her remains discovered 6 months later. Then, Tammy Call, a high school student, disappeared near a convenience store in February of 1990. Her remains weren't found until 7 years later. Retired Vernon Parish District Attorney Asa Skinner says he has no doubt who did it.
He had told his friend that he had dreamed and had visions of going to a convenience store, getting a woman, kidnapping them, raping them, and then killing them to see what it felt like.
The he Skinner is referring to is Samuel Galbraith, a rapist and murderer who was set to walk out of prison in 2017. Galbraith was a soldier at Fort Polk when he abducted Karen Hill, raped her, tied her to a tree, and shot her in the left eye in 1988. Galbraith served 23 years in a Louisiana prison after he was caught nearly 10 years later and convicted.
I know he did one, and I'm sure he did the other 2. And I can't understand why people on a parole board can't back up and look at all the facts.
Galbraith was sentenced to more than 70 years, and tonight Jessie McWilliams, the mother of Karen Hill, says she got another slap in the face recently.
Well, he's up for parole again, the 24th of May. They'll go through like they did everything else, and if they think they're going to get him out. And no, he shouldn't get out.
There's not a day that goes by that she doesn't think about her daughter.
Do your job and don't let him out. I think that, you know, he didn't just murder my daughter. It was a heinous, vicious murder. I mean, he raped her and then tied her to a tree, and I've seen that picture of her laying on the ground.
In 2017, the parole board voted unanimously to release Galbraith.
He's everybody's buddy at the correctional place.
This is audio from that parole hearing.
We will trust you. Is that ever said that the crime is still there? We can't change this crime. This crime has already happened. We can't change it. I don't have any more questions.
That's a board member addressing Galbraith. With 6 years passing and still only a fraction of his sentence served, the victim's family and prosecutors remain wondering how this is happening.
It was just unconscionable, I thought, that this particular person would get out after serving less than 1/3 of his sentence for such a heinous murder and rape as what he committed.
For Jessie McWilliams, it's like a nightmare.
There's something that's not quite right.
That continues to replay in her mind.
I just don't think he should get out. And I can go down and take care of him, but then they'd put me in jail and they wouldn't do parole for me. I'd be there forever.
In 2017, the governor blocked his release because the victim's family was not properly notified about his parole hearing and didn't attend. Galbraith is scheduled to go before the parole board on May 24th. For the investigative unit, I'm Chris Nakamoto.
The parole board says he is now eligible for a rehearing because it has been 2 years since his most recent denial in December of 2020.